Hello, this is Jeff Byers. Welcome back. And I'm your instructor for NE 150. This is Module 3. And we are going through Maya modeling tools. So I'm going to show you a couple more. This is part 2. Show you a couple more tools that are really handy. So you guys know some of the tools already that are up here. You've got a couple of those. Another tool that you guys can use is the modeling toolkit, and you guys can use that. I don't particularly use that. I go ahead and hold the shift key down and right mouse button. I get all my tools right here, right at my fingertips. And I like to have my channel box and my layers open, so I tend to go this route. You can do whatever you'd like, whatever you're comfortable with. And so how does the toolbar work? Well, basically, if you want to select, you can go to multi component, and that's something I showed you. When you right click, you can go to multi. It's the same thing. And so you can also, when you're in component mode, you can hold the shift key down and the right mouse button, and you can get all these as well. So basically, again, hold the shift key down, right mouse button, you can get the merge collapse tool. Again, the only thing I don't like about this is it does kind of jump around, but it is a great, I love the marking menu. And if you did get kind of stuck on something, you can choose from these. You can go right back to the center or go back to here, and you can get back into the component selection for the tools. Okay, so again, we've kind of gone through this a little bit, but not a whole lot. So again, if you go and select your object and you're in object mode, okay, there's a difference. When I'm in object mode, I can move things around. You guys already know all that stuff. If I go into component mode, I can go and switch to multi, and I can click on a vertex if I want to. I can click on a face if I want to, and I can click on an edge if I want to. I don't usually get into multi selection. Some people love it. I don't. I really only specifically want to do one thing, and I know basically what I'm doing. So it's really up to you guys how you want to work. Okay. So we've got, you can go component mode, you can go object mode. So if you want to work this way, more power to you. Pick marquee, you guys pretty much know that. The only thing I really like about the toolkit is that I can turn on symmetry. Okay. So if I want to select something, and I love the symmetry tool, just remember if you have it on. A lot of students turn it on and they don't remember that they turned it on, and they're like, how do I get it off? Basically, you just go in here and turn it off. Okay. You got selection constraint. You can do angle, border, edge loop, edge ring, shell, UV edge. That's also kind of a handy tool. Transform constraints. You can have transform constraints on. Edge slide, surface slide. So we got soft selection in here as well. You can turn on soft select. Okay. So if I go into vertex, it runs off of basically the brush tool. So my brush is really large. Okay. Soft select is also an amazing tool to use. Okay. You can also find it in, if you double click on the move tool, you can find soft select in here as well. You can tell it's on. You can turn it off and on. The B key also turns it off and on. Okay? The B key as in Bob. B as in Bob. Okay, so and holding down the B key while moving your left mouse button will have it go bigger and smaller if you move your mouse back and forth. Okay? So these are some really great tools. Yeah, I can go through the whole thing. We're going to hit most of this stuff. Again, combine. Let's go through that. You already know how to do this. And the cool thing about the soft select is it basically acts like NURBS. Okay? Which means that a regular polygon, if I go into selection mode, go into vertex mode, if I get out of this by hitting the B key, if I move that, it's very linear, right? Well, when I go into select that, and I go into the actual soft select tool, it acts like it kind of adds a radius. You can see that that radius that it will select. And if I hold the B key down, I can even make it bigger. Okay? So it will actually move more. Okay, very, very nice tool to have, okay, in your toolkit. Alright, the next thing, combine. If you have two objects, select, if I click on another object and move it across, I can select two objects and combine them. So if a lot of tools won't work unless you have the object actually combined together, so you can do that by clicking on combine. It's also up here too as well. Separate is easy. Again, you can find it in several spots. You can find it here, you can find it there, you can find it everywhere. If I hold down the space bar, I can go to mesh, I can go to separate. Bam, there it is. I also got combine right here. We haven't gone over booleans. Almost called them balloons. I did call them balloons. I didn't mean to call them balloons. It's booleans. So we can do union, difference, and intersection. We'll kind of mess with that a little bit. So we got these connected. How do I disconnect them? How do I get them apart again? Just click on separate. Okay? And that brings them back again. Alright, so we all know what smooth does. If you go in here in the smoothing tool, you can click on that and you can do the divisions of as high as you want to. I wouldn't go too high. Maybe if we do 2, you can see what it does. It just basically smooths the object. It's great for hard surface modeling, by the way, which we've used. Boolean. Okay, so Boolean's a fun little tool if you want to get into it. Boolean I really don't use very much, and I don't use the crease tool. These two tools get you in trouble. The crease tool will create unwanted edges and vertices and faces. Booleans will do the same thing. It'll give you n-gons, all kinds of problems and issues you have to actually solve. You have to actually solve these issues before you can bring them into other packages. So Booleans are great. I look at Booleans as being good if we're at the end of the modeling cycle. So let's say I got everything modeled and I want to put little dinky little holes or divots into an object. Say the whole thing is modeled, I want to put little holes in the object. Well, then you can do that. Boolean will work, and then you can take the edge and add a little bevel to it, and you're good to go. You have to do it at the very end, okay? And the object will not be animated, okay? Because it gives you horrible, horrible topology, okay? So if I select this and then shift select this and go to mesh and go into Booleans and we go to union, again you can go into the option box, okay? And it kind of tells you how would you like to do it, okay? You want to use the legacy Boolean algorithm. I really don't use Boolean that much, so I'm going to go ahead and apply and close. And what it does is it intersects these two pieces, okay? Let's take a look at it. Wireframe, and it literally intersects them, right? So the operation is that it doesn't add any more and actually takes away, and it just basically connects those two together, okay? Alright, cool. Alright, let's go back. Alright, here we go. Let's move that back over there again. Okay, right there. Alright, so now let's select this one and shift select this one. And we're going to go to mesh booleans and we're going to go to difference. This is one of my favorite ones. It actually cuts out. There we go. Alright, so you can see how it cuts out. Let's go back and let's select shift select them differently. So this one and then this one and mesh booleans difference. There we go. So you can see that it creates all kinds of problems. If I go and right click on this, you can see all the, this is an n-gon to the nth degree, meaning that we've got vertices all over that aren't connected to anything. And the thing is, if this model was almost finished, it would be cool, right? But look at it, it doesn't even preview render right. Look at that. It's messed up. And if I want to smooth this, oh, ouch. Ouch, ouch, ouch. See? It's useless. It's useless. So if you smooth something, get the model completely done, feel free to boolean your heart out. Just make sure you don't keep the harsh edges. Okay, you have to use a bevel on that. We'll talk more about that later when we get into more advanced modeling. Okay, let's go back. And that's a Boolean tool. And then we got the last one. Let's go ahead and click on this one, and go into mesh, and then go to intersection. Okay. This intersects the two together, leaving what? What are they going to leave? Just the section that they actually intersected with. It can be useful, I suppose. I think I've used it once, and I couldn't even tell you how I used it. So it usually difference is what you use, or intersect or difference. Or excuse me, union or difference. Those are the two I use the most, but difference is definitely the one you're going to probably use the most. Union, oh, yeah, once in a while. Intersection, very rarely, you know. So that's Boolean. Extrude, you know how to use extrude. Click on a face, Control E, and move. And the tool works like this. You guys can move it out. You can click on that button and scale it out. You can click on this guy on the outside and rotate it. Yay! Very cool. Alright, awesome. Enough of that. And so bevel, we've used that so many times already, and I think I've shown you that one. Bevel tool is really great. Also, you may not know how to use it this way. This is kind of cool. So you can click on an edge, and a lot of times I'll use if I want to do a seam, like create a clothing seam or something, I'll click on bevel. Okay. And let's do the segments to something like 1. Okay, so you can see, and let's go to 4. That's actually what I usually do, 4. And then I click on 4 is actually too much. Let's do 3. All right, there we go. Perfect. All right, so we're going to go into face, and this is how I can create a seam. So I'm going to click on one, click on the other, and I'm going to actually Control E, extrude, and move it in. And so that kind of creates a seam. You can see that as a little seam like that. Very cool. Awesome. So you can create a seam in something, a grid seam or whatever you want to call it. And then if I smooth that, it looks pretty cool, doesn't it? Look at that. I use that for clothes all the time. It works wonderfully. So the bevel tool can get you started on stuff that's you wouldn't even think about using, except for advanced, hard surface modeling. But so that's how you can create a seam and stuff. It's really pretty cool. So bevel tool is a really great tool, modeling tool. I use it for all kinds of stuff. Bridge, we've already shown you that in the previous modeling tool part 1. Okay, add divisions, we've already done that. Multi-cut tool, we've already done that. Multi-cut tool, we've done that one. I'll show it again. You can go into the multi-cut tool here if you want to, and you can just cut your heart's desire, whatever you like to do, and hit enter, and there it is. I'm going to hit the 1 key. And you can create all kinds of little designs here that work best for you. Okay, and you can extrude those. Again, you can get yourself into trouble because we've got triangles all over the place. I really don't like triangles. You guys kind of know that. And can cause all kinds of problems. Right? Boom. Alright, so you can create all kinds of shapes. You just have to clean stuff up. Just be careful when you use these tools. Alright, what else? Target weld. That's always a fun tool. So just click on target weld and click basically on your object. And for how target weld works is that you have to select the one you want to move, and then you just select the one you want it to weld to. And what it does, it does two things. Not only moves that vertex over, but it welds together to the other vertex. Look at that. So that works out wonderfully if you want to do that. And that means you can collapse quite a bit of stuff together. Just remember the welding tool can collapse things. It's wonderful. Alright, so hit the Q key. Again, that's your selection key. Quad draw. You're going to need to know how to use that. You have to make the surface live before that will work. Okay. So the quad draw is a great tool when you want to create objects. Okay, when you want to create polygons on top of an object to follow the surface shape, which is really cool. We're going to be using that with the weapon, the sci-fi weapon, when we do the handle. So when I go in here, I want to make this live. And this is like the little horseshoe magnet, right? make the selected object live. So I click on that. You can see it clicks on polysurface. And so now it's ready. I can't really tell it's ready, but if I hit the 4 key, it turns like a dark green. So I'm going to go back to 5 again. I'm going to hit the wireframe unshaded so I can kind of see what the topology is. And usually if you want to do fine work with it, you probably should have your mesh a little finer, like subdivide it more, so you have more squares, right? If you're doing, and that's for fine work, right? So how it works is you just click on quad draw, and it just follows the surface. So I'm just going to click on a couple points here, okay, like that. And let's say we're going to go up a little bit here. That sounds good. And then we're going to go up here like that. All right. So to get it to work, you hold the shift key down, and notice that it wants to connect these together, right? All right. So let's go ahead and if you click on it, it creates it. So when you and I'm holding the shift key down, and I'm doing my left mouse button, clicking on it. Okay. So I'm going to go up here, and I notice that I'm really not, unless I hit the shift key down and then click on it, it won't create it. And then hold the shift key down, and I won't, you know. And this is kind of weird. I've noticed that if you get things too far, if you do too many points, I would highly recommend that you do a little bit at a time, and then rotate around there. You can see it follows the surface. It is wonderful. It's a great tool. It's one of my favorite tools. All right. Right now we got the connect tool, which is really a slick little tool. You can right click, you can select a vertex, edge, or face. I'm going to go ahead and select face. And I'm going to go in here and do kind of a right angle. This would be really difficult and take a long time to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on connect. Okay. So notice I got some connections here. I didn't really mean to get this one, so I'm going to hold down the control key and deselect that. And you can see that we can get some very clean lines or clean segments, almost like an insert edge loop tool. But we've got these connection options, so we can slide these around. Okay, put them in the middle or close to the middle. We got segments. How many segments do we want to create? Right? Do we want to do one? Do we want to do multiple? Right? Pinch is how close we want them together. Let's go ahead and pinch those in, and let's slide those around a little bit. So you can use all three, and you can see we get some really good results. Okay? Okay? So you can see up here in the connect slide, 0.5 is right in the middle. Okay? And that is awesome. That can really come in handy. So if you just want one, just type in one segment, or you can use your middle mouse button and slide your mouse back and forth. Hold down your middle mouse button. That's how I'm creating that. And again, with the slide, hold down your middle mouse button, and that's how I'm doing that. Okay? It's really, really great tool. If you don't like that cut right there, this is just a preview, right? So I'm going to hold down the control key, and I can take that out. I can add by holding the shift key down. Very, very cool. Very powerful. Okay? And when you hit enter, you're done. It's a good tool. Very good tool.